guys, welcome back to Quick Concepts. Today we're going to be talking about evaluating expressions, and this is fancy for substitution. So let me just give you a couple examples of some easier ones and then we'll get into some harder ones. So evaluating expressions is where you're given a function, let's say something like this. You're told over here what A is and what B is, and you're expected to be able to plug those in and work out the problem out through algebra. Now, the number one rule here is that for every number you substitute in, if I can spell substitute in, you must put a parentheses around it. If you do not, you will be in a world of hurt, and let me explain why. So, let's say I didn't put them in. How would this look to you? It would look like it's 2 minus 3 squared, right? That's not what it is. It's A, which is 2, times negative 3 squared minus 2. So what this does is allows us to see order of operations. So remember this from, I think it's introduced in middle school. PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. This tells us we have to do parentheses first, then exponents, multiplication and division are on the same level from left to right, and then addition and subtraction are on the same level from left to right. So there's really nothing within parentheses we can do because they're just numbers. But the next thing I can do is the exponent. So I'm going to bring down the 2 and I'm going to bring down this. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Noticing I'm keeping it in the parentheses. Now I can see the next thing I have to do is multiply. So this is 18. And then I can just bring down the last step and get my answer. So let's try a little bit more complicated one. We're going to try a few of these because they can get crazy complicated, but please, 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 as long as you remember to use your parentheses, you should be fine. So I'm putting in a 2 for x, parentheses, a negative 3 for y, minus. Now notice I'm going to turn that parentheses here into a bracket. The reason I'm going to do that is because then I can put in negative 2 times negative 3 plus negative 3. And then again, I'm going to replace this parentheses. Because I'm using parentheses within those parentheses, I want to make those a little bit bigger and go with brackets. So now I'm ready to do my order of operations. So I want to work everything out on the inside here first because that's technically parentheses. Brackets are just capital parentheses, right? I don't even know if that's true, but regardless. This is negative 2 times negative 3. When those parentheses just butt up against each other, it's multiplication. So negative times a negative is a positive, that's 6, plus negative 3. Again, I'm just bringing everything down that I did not use in that first multiplication. So 6 plus negative 3 is essentially saying 6 minus 3, which gives me my 3. Now I can turn these back into parentheses because there's really nothing left to do inside there. So I've done my parentheses. There's no exponents visible. So the next thing I'm going to do is multiply. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And then lastly, it's a subtraction of negatives, which means I change the second two signs. So this becomes plus negative, which gives me a negative 9. Now let's do a little bit more complicated one from, let's go with lesson 5. Let's see if we have a pretty good complicated one from lesson 5. Let's do 24. Let's do 24, and then we're going to do one with fractions, and then we'll call it. This is number 24 from Problem Set 5 in your Saxon Algebra 2 book. So it's mx minus m times m minus mx squared. So m is equal to negative 2, and x is equal to negative 1. So again, I'm just going to substitute in using parentheses. Now watch this. I'm going to change this to a bracket. And close that out with a bracket. Again, I want to go inside my parentheses. Now, once I'm inside my parentheses, I have to follow order of operations. So the first thing I want to deal with is my exponent. -1 times -1 is a +1. And then I'm just going to bring everything else down in each step. I know this is kind of annoying, but as you get better at them, you'll be able to do multiple things in one step. The next thing in order of operations within my parentheses is multiplication. So you can do this a couple different ways. I can say negative times -2, which is +2 times 1, or I can say minus -2. It's probably best just to do +2. So then we just bring down this. -2 plus 2 is 0. So guess what? I don't have to think about that because anything times 0 is 0. What I have left, though, is this front stuff. So -2 times -1 is 2. 2 minus 0 is 2. All right, so let's do a fraction one. I think I lose a lot of people on fractions just because most people did not do well when they were doing fractions in elementary school. A lot of parents let math kind of go to the wayside, which is probably not smart because it's the only class that carries all the way through with no repeats. You will always repeat in English, you will repeat in history, you'll even repeat to a certain extent in science, but you will not repeat in math. You will always build. All right, so let's bring this down. Okay, again, we're going to start in our parentheses. Within that parentheses, I'm going to use this. -1/2 times -1. I'm just going to write it over here so you can kind of see what's happening. This is going to be a +1/4 plus 1/4 because those two positives. And then I'm just going to bring this down. I'm going to go ahead and add this. This is going to be 2/4, which reduces to 1/2. And I'm going to bring everything else down. Now my next job is to multiply, and I'm always going to multiply from left to right. So let's start right here. This becomes +1/4. This becomes -1/8. Just going to put the minus out there so you understand that it is a subtraction. It's not a multiplication. And then this becomes a -1/16. Now, back to third grade math. You have to have a common denominator here to be able to subtract or add fractions. So this becomes -8/16 minus 1/16, which is -9/16. And that is it for evaluating equations.